It's that time again, folks! This year's Halloween Horror Nights, I have to say, was the most anticipated year for me, as they finally made a Five Nights at Freddy's house. And of course, I had to dress up for this event because I have been waiting for over a year to see this come to life. As usual, the event is everything you'd ask for: scares, costumes, themed zones, and of course, the houses. But which house ruled them all? Let's find out as I rank the 10 houses this year and see who won the King of Scares. Starting with number 10, Fallout. I've heard of the game, heard of the show, but never took any interest in it, and I still don't. You would have to be a big fan of the franchise to understand what's going on. The house was based on the TV show and with some snippets of the game. So it wasn't more so for thrills and scares, but just going through the events of the series so far, like what they did for the Walking Dead houses in the past. So again, for me, nothing to sneeze or scream about. If you are a fan of the franchise and love it for the nostalgic feel, or you are a fan of the show and you like what they did, then you'll enjoy it. As for me, it was a goose egg. Number 9, El Artista. This house is about a tortured artist that isolates himself in a manor, hoping to find inspiration. Instead, he gets possessed, and we have to escape before we become his permanent exhibit. The plot wasn't bad. The costumes were amusing. Unfortunately, due to it being a Congo line, I didn't get scared so much, but more admiring what they did to put this together. It was a bitter end for our artist. However, I wasn't too impressed with his final art piece. Number 8, WWE presents The Horror of the Wyatt Six. If you're a fan of WWE, this house is for you. Inspired by characters developed by the late pro wrestler Bray Wyatt, this house is an homage showcasing the characters that he developed over the years that he was known for throughout his wrestling career. From references to the Wyatt family and even The Fiend, fans of Bray would be excited to walk through this house, knowing that his legacy still lives on. Number 7, Graves of Flesh. Ever want to know what it's like when you die? I didn't, but this house gives you an idea. It's a zombie-esque house, including creatures called flesh eaters that tear you apart and drag you down into the underworld where you are tormented for eternity. There were some good jump scare moments. The character designs for the creatures were not bad. Overall, it was an alright house. Number 6, Hatchet and Chain's Demon Bounty Hunters. Set in an old western town, lava demons are possessing people left and right, and you have 2 cowboys to come save you. Personally, I think the masks of the creatures were recycled from previous Horror Night events, so they didn't seem impressive to me. What stapled this into the 6th spot, other than looking like you're in hell, was the environment and the creature at the end. I'm always a sucker for practical effects. As cheesy as they look sometimes, the performers do a great job bringing them to life. Besides, they will always be better than CGI in my eyes. Number 5, Gulkin, Monsters of the North. I'm a sucker for Norfolk tales. This house is full of it. This house is about a village that gets invaded by a wicked being that brings her friends along to wreak havoc. Again, credit goes to the practical effects. The bigger they are, the better the thrill, in my opinion. I was more amazed than scared by the characters and the environment, and that's why I placed it in 5th place. Number 4, Jason Universe. To be honest, I know about Jason, but never watched any of his movies. The reason I placed this up there as one of the top 5 was because the scare actors really sold it for me here. I jumped more times than I can remember that night, because the actors were top-notch in timing and placement. This was also a long house, so though it gave me time to recuperate, the Jason scare actors were ready for round 2. The sad part, however, was that towards the end, the conga line that I was in came to a halt, and I was stuck at one part of the house where Jason kept popping out, and the thrill of it started to die. Even towards the end, with the showcase of Jasons, because the night was almost over, I never got the full effect. But I still give this house props for what it did, because to me, this house is second place when it comes to scares, like Leatherface in a prior Horror Nights house. Number 3. Dolls. Let's Play Dead. I cannot tell you how much I hated this house, and Universal did a bang-up job at making me not want to go back in. I'm not a fan of dolls, even though I had them as a child. I call this a 4D house because there's an area where you smell burnt plastic that actually made me nauseous, and they were brilliant for that. Making us shrink to the size of toys was indeed brilliant, and having to walk through a demented dollhouse where there's a spider made of yarn. You're in an easy bake oven, and you can actually press buttons for noise and effects was a brilliant touch. I was terrified, and that's why this deserves the 3rd spot. Number 2. Five Nights at Freddy's. Personally, I would have put FNAF on the number 1 spot, but I think it would have been biased of me to do so because I really love this franchise. Ever since the very first game, I've been watching creators like Markiplier and Daco, and even playing the games myself, trying to figure out the complete lore of this game. When the movie came out, I was expecting the house to come last year. I'm glad that they saved it for this year, as the second movie is coming out in December. This house is not meant to be scary, at least for me, because I am a fan of Jim Henson's Creature Shop. They're the ones that brought you amazing creatures from the Labyrinth movie and the Dark Crystal. These guys actually took the time to build these props for us to enjoy throughout this house. So the fact that they brought these animatronics to life in the movie and for us to go through this brilliant maze, I can't imagine how Scott felt actually seeing these guys right in front of him during the filming of the first movie. I was fangirling throughout the entire house, amazed at the props, the environment, and the actual animatronics when you walk in. It was more than I could ask for. And the number 1 spot that has been dubbed King of the Screams goes to Terrifier. I'm going to tell you now, I'm not a fan of slasher movies, as to me they are just for the sake of killing. Horror movies like Saw is brilliant for its story, the thrill and suspense of the characters, but I'm not a fan of the gore or its traps. Same thing with the Final Destination franchise. Terrifier, to me, is indeed a scary movie because of the concept that a serial killer could actually do these things to people. Believe me, the true crime cases I've watched or listened to blows my mind as to what someone is thinking before ending someone's life. Art the Clown is like Deadpool on steroids. The guy can't be stopped. This house is also a 4D house, as there are buttons to press, and the smell in the bathroom reminds me of so many bathrooms I've been in via gas stations and parks. I did get jump scared several times by creative art characters, and you have a choice between the dry path and the wet path. The wet path isn't as bad as people said it would be, so if you're up to several drops of water on you, go ahead. But this by far is a serial killer's dream house. So that's my list, guys. Are you going to Halloween Horror Nights this year? If you have, what were your thoughts, and where did you rate the houses? If you found this video informative, all I ask is that you click on the like button so the algorithm can draw more people to this channel. And if you want to stay tuned for more, just click on the subscribe button. This is Nyisha, and I'll see you next time.